So, I am looking very, very oily, and this is something I didn't expect from powder foundation.
Come on, hold up.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about powder foundation, which is absolutely crazy for someone like me who has very, very dry skin. I've even come into this intro with no makeup on, so you can see exactly how dry my skin is. I have just washed it with the, well, this is a box. This is the Even True Black Opal Skin Perfecting Cream Cleanser. I really like this because it is a bit more gentle on my skin. I feel like it feels a bit milky on my skin. My face, as you can see, is still super, super dry. So this is like the resting natural state of my face. I always come into videos like heavily moisturized, so you guys think I have oily skin when I actually don't. So yeah, we're gonna be putting powder foundation on this and seeing how well it holds up. But I have actually tested this powder foundation before. This is the Black Opal Ultra Matte Foundation Powder, which sounds so scary if you have dry skin, but I do have a couple of tips and tricks on how to like make it work and look glowy, look actually glowy with like ultra matte powder foundation. So if you want to see how to make powder foundation work on dry skin, even if you have like normal skin or like oily skin, these steps can still work for you. Just use the oils in like moderation. But if you want to see how all of that comes together on my face, then just keep watching. Step one is obviously moisturizer. I love going in with my Nivea cream underneath my makeup, but this works really well for liquid foundations. I felt like the time that I actually tried it with this powder foundation, the ultra matteness of the powder really came through. So that does not work for me with powder foundations. Even if you have oilier skin, you still want to like look supple and glowy and alive. You don't want to look like matte and dry and crackly throughout the day. So I would not suggest going in with a cream. I would instead suggest going in with a straight up oil. You can use like coconut oil or like one of those other oils that are more common, but I really like this. This is a body butter by a small business, a company whose name I can never pronounce, so I'll just have it on the screen. I'll have their Instagram handle on the screen. So follow them, buy from them, support them. This is about $20 and it's so worth it. I've had it for a long time. This isn't just coconut oil. It's like a blend of so many different types of oil, so it's very, very good for you, like very nourishing to the skin. So now that I have that on, if I just go in directly with powder foundation on top of this, the powder will suck away all the moisture from my skin and like leave me back to like my very matte, dried down state. And that's the last thing that I want, because no matter what products I'm wearing, I do want to have glowy skin underneath. So before I go in with the powder foundation, I am going to go in with my two favorite primers. These are amazing. I never use primer, but I realized when I'm using powder foundation, I absolutely have to. This is a hydrating primer from Maybelline and the illuminating primer from Maybelline. So this adds like the artificial surface glow, whereas this actually goes into the skin and adds hydration. So it's sort of like working together with the oil to make sure my skin does not feel dry, does not feel matte at any point throughout the day. So these two, amazing. And as you can see, my face literally looks like it's glowy on steroids because I have so many layers of illuminating products on top of it. I really like layering it like this because the top layers protect the base of my skin. Like my skin is protected, the oil is moisturizing directly into that. So the primers are what deal with the foundation on top. So it sort of creates that barrier that like prevents me from getting too dry, that at the end of the day, I don't feel like scratching my face off, you know? People say that you should never put creams on top of powders. I don't agree with that at all. I do that all the damn time. So even with this powder foundation, I'm not going to go in with my concealer underneath and then go in with powder on top, just to show you that it actually can be done. But that's usually the way people say you should do it. But I mean, I've seen no harm doing it the other way around. So I have the shade 500 dark and 600 medium deep. I actually really was convinced looking at the website that 500 dark would be my perfect shade, but it is way too light on me. It looks super ashy. 600 medium deep is my exact perfect match. So I was actually worried this would be a bit too light for me, but it matches me so perfectly. Hopefully with all these lights, it still matches me perfectly. I just wanted to show them both to you so you can see which direction you could possibly fall in. 600 medium deep is my skin tone. So if you're my skin tone or like a little bit darker or like a little bit lighter, this should be absolutely perfect. I'm going to use my Michael Todd brush that I haven't used in the longest time, and I have something so exciting coming from them. So yeah, I'm feeling all motivated to like use this again. You can use this powder wet and dry. So what I'm going to try to do is get coverage on this half of my face with the powder dry, and then wet it and try to see how much coverage I can actually build from this product. You do have to be careful because there will be fallout as you're dipping your brush. So what I like to do is turn it on the side and like collect all that extra particles so nothing is wasted. I mean, the coverage isn't crazy, and yes, I do go in even on top of my eye with this, even knowing that I'm going to put concealer there. The dark circles around my eyes are some of the most prominent places. We can see like discoloration, so I do want to see what type of coverage you can get with this powder, so I'm just gonna get it everywhere and we'll go from there. And I already feel like these parts of my face that have the powder foundation are already looking a lot more blurred than like the rest of my face, so I don't know if you can tell on camera, but that's the effect I'm getting so far. But it still looks very skin-like, just very, very blurred, and you can see that it is mattifying the parts of my face that it's touching versus the glow on this side of my face. So I mean, it is powder foundation, it is expected. So this is my face with the powder foundation, and I'm pretty impressed. Even like now, looking at the monitor, looking in the mirror, it looks pretty damn good, because I do feel like this side of my face just looks more like, it does look more mattified than this side of my face, but you can see what I was talking about when I said that I wanted to maintain that natural inner glow. So it looks mattified, but like there's still a radiance to it. I'm still looking alive and like supple and like plump, versus looking completely matte and dry down, you know? So yeah, I'm really liking the level of coverage. Even without wetting my brush to get more coverage, I'm pretty impressed with the way it's looking so far. So yeah, even underneath my eyes, I feel like since I haven't gone in with any concealer and my under eyes look this good, this is actually a product that would be absolutely perfect for anyone who doesn't really have like dark circles or bags or any concerns underneath there. This could probably hold you up like throughout the day, so that's pretty freaking cool. I'm just going to get it on the rest of my face. No, what I'm going to do is wet a brush, and then we'll see if we can actually get more coverage from the wet brush versus the dry brush. Okay, so I do feel like I have gotten more coverage with the wet brush, but I feel like it's kind of moving around the foundation that's already laid down, so it's kind of making it a bit streaky when we've already seen that the foundation itself isn't. So I would not recommend using this wet unless you're like wetting a sponge and then like scooping it up, because this compact actually does come with like a section for a sponge, but then they decided not to put one in there for us, so don't really understand the logic behind that. But it has like the section for a sponge, and it comes in the mirror, so that's pretty cool. It's really good for like on the go touch-ups. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of this brush being wet, though I do feel like it's picking up a lot more product, therefore it's like laying it down and like caking it on more, which is why I've gone in around the mouth area, on this other side of the nose, just so we can see what the wet brush can do on a side that had no product on it whatsoever. But yeah, it does add coverage, but I feel like there's a trade-off where you have to be really careful not to lift a foundation that's already there. So I'm just going to do the rest of my face, do my brows, and then we'll see how that looks. Okay, so I'm back. It's been about 15 minutes since I got the foundation on my face, and as you can see, I am still looking radiant and glowy, and this is an ultra matte foundation powder, so there are different ways to make things work for you, even if it's not necessarily for your skin type. So obviously if you have oily skin, then you just skip all the moisturizing layers and like you go into the light layer of moisturizer and the powder foundation on top. If you want to look a little bit more matte, I would even go in with a powder foundation on top of this one, just to like add the layers of powder and like tone down the glowiness. But so far so good. I am obsessed with how glowy I'm looking. I feel like the shade is a little bit too dark for my body, like just ever so slightly too dark, so I am going to fix that with my concealer. This is my absolute favorite concealer. This is the Too Faced Born This Way Super Coverage whatever. And just to prove to you that concealer can go on top of powder, I have done my brows and like curved them with concealer, and like what patchiness, you know, what skipping, what issues around my brows? None. So yeah, concealer can definitely go on top of powder, as I'm about to demonstrate using this and my beauty blender. I finally picked one up. This is the best thing that has ever happened to my makeup collection. This was my birthday gift to myself because I'm an August baby, so yeah, obsessed with these two. So I did check the time as soon as I was done putting on my foundation, and it is 4:50, which is pretty damn late, so I may only go like 8 to 10 hours with this wear test, but we'll see how it holds up, because I'm leaving the house and like doing errands, and I usually don't do that with my wear test, so hopefully that makes up for something. I don't know. Do you see how a little goes a very, very long way? Like, this is an amazing full coverage concealer. Absolutely love it. It is more of a matte formula, so I do have to blend it out quickly, especially since I'm working on top of powders, but so far so good.
Yo, we're just there for do it and do life big, you see me?
I gotta slow down, stop for a second, take a look around, and I gotta take time.
I've only gotten in the tiniest amount of powder right in those lines just to avoid creasing, and I haven't set any powder on the rest of my concealer, and yet a powder foundation is still looking glowy and healthy and like good on my dry skin. So I think that's pretty damn cool. I really love this powder foundation, and as you can see, it has just brought like a certain brightness to the center parts of my face that is making it like balance out a bit more with my body, so the foundation isn't looking too dark anymore. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this is turning out. I did want to wear a black lip for this color, which is why I'm sitting here with no eyeshadow on, because I have no idea what I want to do on my eyes. I feel like I want to keep it really simple, like maybe like a really bold wing or something, but all my wing liners are not working, like they're all dried out. I'm so sad. So hopefully if I can find that by the time I come in for my next check-in, I will have that on. I talked about using a powder to set powder foundation, and it actually does make logical sense because this is straight up a mattifying powder, so I really do like this. If I wanted to look more matte on this, I definitely would. If I still didn't feel like the color was balancing out a bit better with my skin, I would go into the lighter shade of the same powder and like just dust it all over to like bring back a bit of the brightness. But I'm perfectly happy with looking this glowy for the rest of the day, so I'm not going to do that. Second thing is, if you feel like the powder is looking a little bit too heavy like it was when I wet the brush, I would go in with the setting spray because that just melts everything right into the skin. I don't think I'm going to do that because I do sort of want this to be a sort of fair, sort of equal to all my other wear tests where I don't really give the powder foundation any help. But in this case, I have put on like primers and moisturizers and whatever, just because dry skin, powder foundation, I want to give it its best shot, but I still do want to see how it performs, so we'll see how it holds up for the rest of the day. So I am looking very oily, and this is something I didn't expect from powder foundation, but I figured out that it is a combination of the prepping that I did, because I did put on a lot of moisturizer and like straight up oils on my skin, so it is sort of behaving like it is oily, and then on top of that just like natural oils and like sweat coming through, and that is how we end up here. So I feel like I have to factor that into my other foundation reviews. So that's one of the reasons I'm giving this foundation a pass. The second reason I'm giving it a pass is because, as you can see, there is no separation on my face. Nothing has like broken apart and started looking blotchy and like patchy, unless I look back at this in editing and I can see something more clearly. But looking in my mirror right here, everything is still intact. The only issue I'm slightly having is like smile lines, but even that has barely happened. And the good thing about this foundation, unlike its liquid counterparts, is that it's so compact. I can actually slip this into my handbag, use it as my touch-up mirror, carry my sponge with me, which I already do like on a daily, because as you can see, every single time I wear my spectacles, unless I'm wearing the Estee Lauder or the Revlon foundation, it always becomes a hot mess there, so I have to carry my sponge with me anyway. And now, without any additional product on it, I'm just going to blot and show you how easy it is to like take away this oily, greasy look, because it has been looking this greasy since about 6 hours, but I wanted to wait just as long as I possibly could just to show you how well it would hold up after a reasonable number of hours. So now that it has been 8 hours, I can come in and like blot in front of you and show you that it hasn't broken up, it hasn't separated, and I'm really impressed by that. And voila, do you see how easy it is to look presentable with nothing but like a good sponge? And I feel like with how easy the touch-up is and with how well it's holding up so far, even if it is getting a little bit too glowy for my liking, I still have no complaints. I absolutely love this foundation. It still looks fabulous. I'm impressed. What I'm going to do is actually touch up with the powder just so you can see the difference that it can make. Like if you feel like you need to add some coverage somewhere, I'm just going in with the sponge, and this isn't dampened because I do prefer to use this powder dry. But you see, if I want it to be like extra mattified again, then I just go in with the powder in those very specific areas, and voila, huge difference already. So I feel like this is a winner. This is 100% something I can definitely recommend. If you have dry skin, just prep like I did and you'll end up looking like you have oily skin at the end of the day. If you have oily skin, then just don't use much prep at all. Use a very oily skin friendly moisturizer and then go in with this, and it should be able to control your oils, I hope. I don't know, I have dry skin, can't really say. So that's how I'm going to end this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it helpful. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe down below. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know if you've ever tried a powder foundation. I'm curious about that, and I'll see you in my next video.